for joining us today and welcome to my sewing room. I am so excited about what we're going to learn today. Shaping lace diamonds is the overall theme of the show, and actually diamonds were the first lace shapes that I made, so it's exciting for me to share this easy technique with you. The first garment I'm going to show you today has lovely diamonds on the collars with a little tiny bullion rosebud lazy daisy stitch embellishment. There are beautiful diamonds also on the skirt of this dress. This dress has two colors of Swiss Batiste, pink and peach. Diamond lace shaping can be as tailored or as fancy as you want it to be. This elegant lady's blouse with a man-tailored short sleeve has a beautiful collar with diamonds on it, diamonds and then gathered lace around the collar, actually made out of organdy. As pretty as a picture is this older girl's dress in a lovely cornflower blue with diamonds that almost look a little bit like Christmas trees around the collar. An adaptation of an antique dress is this little silk dress, white with pink squares and ecru lace diamonds, a little to-the-waist dress for the older girls, and the diamonds travel all the way down the skirt. Combining French sewing with smocking is certainly a beautiful thing to do. On the skirt of this beautiful little Swiss Batiste smocked dress are diamonds. Actually, there are two diamonds shaped together which flow out into a scalloped skirt. This lovely dress is as simple as can be. It has a beautiful pointed collar, one diamond in the center, and a lovely little blue bow done in shadow work embroidery. The fabric is a fabric which really is less dressy than the Swiss Batiste, a pretty cotton print which I believe could be worn to almost any occasion for the older girl. And also, as the girls get older, they tend to like a little less fancy, so this is a great option for your older daughter or granddaughter. Now, I think you're going to enjoy how easy it is to make diamonds. I would like to go over to the teaching boards just to show you how. The first step in making a lace diamond is to trace off the diamond shape on your collar, on your sleeve, on the bottom of the skirts. Then these little lines drawn in, bisecting the points where the lace will be mitered, are very critical for the fold-back miter method, which I am going to share with you right now. I put a pin at the top and a pin at the bottom and start my laces around. I've traveled in and made this miter. Let me just show you how to make the next one. The laces go up. I put a pin at the top and a pin at the bottom. Then I take this piece of lace, fold it back on itself. See how nicely you fold it back on itself. Remove the pin that goes through two layers and put it right back, and look here what happens. The miter automatically folded in. All right, you help me on this one. I put a pin on the outside of the lace. Then I come in here and put a pin on the inside of the lace. Now, where do I stick that pin? You got it. Right where the lace crosses over the lines I just drew. All right, I'm going to fold the lace back on itself, remove the pin and put it back through two layers, travel the lace on around, then come to the bottom. That isn't exactly like the other two areas. All right, I'll put a pin at the top. I cannot fold this lace back on itself. That would be no good. It won't work. So what am I going to do? I'm going to turn the lace on itself, but just go underneath, fold it down, put another pin in the board, and there my miter is folded in on the bottom. This is an example showing you what it looks like after all the steps have been made. This particular diamond shows the zigzagging on the outside, zigzagging on the inside, then trimming away the fabric from behind the lace. Now, what are you going to do over these zigzags right here? After the fabric has been trimmed away, after go back and zigzag over the miters, and then you can trim away that little dart that you just folded in. What would happen if I would like to put pin tucks inside this diamond, or maybe even take a handkerchief with a pretty embroidery on it? Here's what you do. Shape the diamond, then zigzag the outside only, and trim away all of the fabric from behind. Over here, I will show you how. I have put some pin tucking in the middle, zigzag in the pin tucking, trim away the excess pin tucking from the back, and then go back over and zigzag over the miters. And in this case, I have a beautiful diamond with pin tucks in the middle, but you see I could have put embroidery or anything else in the middle of that diamond. The quilt square for today has a diamond on it, stitched down with wing needle machine entredot. Now the quilt that we have here is really made in a baby size. However, one of the most beautiful beds I ever saw in my life was a quilt made like this. It was for a king size bed, had a wonderful ecru dust ruffle, and it was absolutely beautiful. Let's go a little bit further with this diamond technique. Now on my lace shaping board, I have I have pinned the diamonds, folded in the miters. I'm down at the bottom. I would like to refresh your memory one more time on this fold back at the bottom of the miter. Pin at the top. I do not fold it back like this on itself. That won't work. I fold it underneath itself like this, and that miter folds in there perfectly. I will put a pin at the bottom, and guess what I have to do with those excess lace tails right there? Well, you guessed it. I have to come in here and cut those off. And I am now ready to remove the pins from the board, pin this diamond flat, remove these pins. Uh-oh, pulled it up there, didn't I? Remove these pins, pin it flat. I have the stabilizer underneath this underneath this diamond already. Now I'm going to remove the board. By the way, I do need to tell you, you do not sew through this cardboard. One time I forgot to tell people that, and guess what? Somebody sewed through the cardboard. All right, here we go. I'm going to do another wing needle entredot stitch. I'm going to start at the corner. You don't have to start at the corner on the diamonds. I just chose to start at the corner. It's okay to start anywhere you want to. I'm going to guide down the center, the beautiful wing needle entredot stitch. I'm going to guide the center of the foot down the heading of the lace. And by the way, I do not push or pull when I do wing needle entredot work. I let the machine do all of the pushing and the pulling for me. I do not want to pull it or jerk it. You know why? It will take the world's most beautiful stitch and make the world's ugliest stitch out of it. And that is the truth, I promise you. So I started at the corner of this beautiful diamond. I'm wing needle entredot stitching. And by the way, I go on straight pieces anyway, I go as fast as I can go. In other words, push this foot pedal all the way down to the floor. You can stitch and stitch and stitch, and I just love to make wing needle entredot. There are a couple of other stabilizers that you can use in addition to this stabilizer that I'm using on the back, which you just rip away after you finish stitching. You can actually use a piece of adding machine tape, you know, that you pull out of your paper, you pull out of your adding machine. Or if you don't have anything else, you can simply use a piece of typewriter paper. You can also use, if you would like to, some of the liquid stabilizers. Okay, now then I'm coming down into the point, so I will carefully stitch down into the point, make this beautiful entredot stitch all the way down to the very point, and I will stop and flip it around, and I'm ready to start again. All right, let's go back over to the board, to the teaching board. I have an example to show you how you can use a lovely diamond on a woman's garment. This particular blouse is a button up the back, very tailored blouse, and it has a diamond on the front with pin tucks inserted in the middle of that diamond. Do you see how the diamond was stitched on at the halfway point where it hangs down? This is a very elongating line, and I believe a very slenderizing line with the diamond that points up and down. Here is the platter collar right here that you start with. Here it is just cut out of the pattern, the platter collar for this button up the back blouse. Here is the diamond template which I used to trace onto the collar. No, I didn't trace it onto the collar this time. I traced the diamond template onto a strip of pin-tucked fabric. I'm going to make my diamond with the double needle pin tucks in the middle, stitch it, trim away the extra double needle pin tucks, take this diamond piece, bring it up and attach it to my collar, where half of it will be on the top of the collar and half of it will be on the bottom of the collar. And then I use my other laces to go around and finish it. This little doll dress is absolutely precious. It is made out of a lavender Swiss batiste with ecru laces. The diamond trims, since this is the diamond show, actually start at the necklines. This tiny little collar has the sweetest little shaped diamond you've ever seen, with gathered lace edging, tiny little doll edging around the collar. There are these sweetest little diamonds on the sleeves. As a matter of fact, there are 2 little diamonds on the sleeves of this dress. And since doll babies are so little, I have used entredot around her sleeves and run the silk ribbon to tie her little sleeves through the entredot. The skirt of this dress is very beautiful for either a doll skirt, or it could be used on an adult garment also. Diamonds run all the way around the bottom of the skirt with a beautiful gathered lace edging for the trim, and then there is really an up and down treatment, miters, a diamond sort of effect which goes above the diamonds on the skirt. A very lovely skirt for all kinds of garments. Making the diamond skirt is really very easy. I would like to carry you through the step of making these up and down mitered, maybe sort of diamonds which go above the real diamonds. Okay, I come up to the top. Now help me with this if you remember. I put a pin at the top and a pin at the bottom. And what did I do next? You're exactly right. I folded it back on itself and removed the pin which went through 2 layers, and then travel the diamond on around, and I come down to the next marking here. I have a pin at the top and a pin at the bottom, and I fold it back on itself, hold it, and in this case remove the pin that goes through 2 layers, and that was the top pin. Okay, so much for that. Look at the total skirt treatment. I zigzag, first of all, the up and down, jigged, jaggeds, the diamond sections, which are just half diamonds really. Zigzag the top, zigzag the bottom. Then I go along to the bottom, to the real diamonds. I zigzag up and down and up and down and up and down all the way around the skirt of the real diamonds. Next comes zigzagging or wing needle entredot stitching all the way around the inside of the diamonds. Now remember, I still am working with the skirt, the whole skirt bottom. All right, next comes gathering the lace. Okay, gather the lace, zigzag the gathered lace all the way around the skirt, and then guess what I do? Cut away the bottom of the skirt, and as you can see, then it leaves a beautiful diamond skirt bottom. And this holds true for the doll dress as well as for any kind of adult garment or child garment. Today I'm very pleased to have as my guest here in my sewing room, Kathy Brower, who is embroidery editor for So Beautiful magazine. Welcome to the show, Kathy.
Thank you, Martha.
I'm excited that Kathy is going to share with you another silk ribbon embroidery technique, Silk ribbon embroidery, don't forget, is so beautiful, so fun, and so easy. Kathy, what are you going to share with us today?
Well, today, Martha, I'm going to share the fishbone stitch or the fishbone rose. It's basically a rose from a side view instead of a top view, and it's using the basic and very simple stitch, the straight stitch, which we've shown you previously. The sample I have here today is of a beautiful linen collar with the fishbone rose elegantly placed around the outside border of the collar. Also, I have this beautiful brooch that Martha's going to show you how to put together later in the show. And this is a great example of a fishbone rose. Here I have this already laid out for you with a template. And I'll start over here. And you basically have 5 steps to a fishbone rose. You will start in the middle at number 1, you'll go to number 2, then you'll come back over to 3 and overlap 2, then you'll do the same thing for 4 and 5. This is the first step, the second step, and the third step. Let me try to make one for you today. I'm going to start somewhere in the middle. You just bring your ribbon up, and I'm using a 7mm ribbon. That's the best one to use for a fishbone rose if you want a nice fluffy rose. All right, that's the first stitch. Second stitch, I'll come a little to the side of the center where I came up before. And you have to tug a little bit for silk ribbon. I'll come right next to the first stitch I made. And you'll pull it down. Keep that ribbon kind of straight for a nice fluffy stitch. I'll come back over here a little bit overlapping the second stitch I made. Try to keep my ribbon straight. Come up here over next to the first stitch, and I'm overlapping the second stitch. Then I'll come back over here to the side, overlapping the third stitch. Come back and go down a little bit further. Okay. And then do the same, repeat the same on the other side. Come over a little bit, overlap the fourth stitch, and you have your last stitch. And Martha, all you have to do now is just add your leaves and you have a beautiful fishbone rose. It's as simple as that.
That is almost unbelievable that you simply made that beautiful rose with straight stitches moving back and forth and back and forth. Mm-hmm. And tell me now, are those straight stitches on the leaves over there also?
These are the Japanese ribbon stitches that we showed you on the first show. Okay. You can make the whole rose with the Japanese ribbon stitch, and it's also very elegant. And you can make this rose a little bit smaller with a 2mm thread or a 4mm thread. And so you can make a whole bouquet of several different sizes and varieties of flowers.
I am so excited about how easy it is to do elegant embroidery with silk ribbon. Thank you so much, Kathy, for being here with me today.
Thank you, Martha.
I have an exciting home decorating item for you today. This particular pillowcase is a real pillowcase to sleep on your bed. It would be wonderful for you to have, or it would be such a lovely gift for a bride and groom. This particular pillowcase is made out of an inexpensive poly cotton blend and has wonderful diamonds that have lovely polyester ribbon right in the middle with lots of French lace. A very easy gift to make, and it might be a nice gift to make for you and for me. Here is a finished diamond made like we've been making diamonds all during the show today, with the ribbons and the laces inserted in the middle, entredot on the bottom, and gathered lace zigzagged to the entredot to finish. Now, how did I make this? Here is how. First, shape the diamonds onto the pillowcase with the bottom is still a raw edge. Then next, zigzag the top only of this diamond. Then go underneath and trim away the fabric in between this side of the diamond, that side of the diamond. Now, here is the strip that I made, which will be inserted underneath this trimmed out area. Are you with me? Lace, ribbon, lace, wide ribbon, lace, ribbon, lace. Okay, now this diamond shows I inserted this strip underneath the diamond that I had zigzagged and trimmed away. The next stitching comes on the inside. In other words, I zigzag all the way around the inside of this diamond and then lift it up and trim away the excess strip. After putting entredot on and then coming in with gathered lace edging to zigzag it, that is absolutely all there is to making this wonderful pillowcase. Absolutely beautiful for yourself or for a gift. And now I'd like for us to go back to silk ribbon ideas and make a little brooch that we started earlier in the show for our craft idea. My craft for you today is absolutely a precious little silk ribbon and lace brooch. Kathy showed you a little earlier how to make these stitches. The fishbone rows and these wonderful straight stitches. Let me show you how to put together this precious little brooch. First of all, I have my circle pattern and I cut it out of poster board, 2 or 3 little circles to make a nice stiff backing. Okay? I use my circle pattern again to cut out a little circle of quilt batting. That's the next layer. I'll move my circle pattern over here. Then the next thing I have already completed is my silk ribbon embroidery on a round circle of muslin or linen or whatever fabric you use. Then I put this down on top of the other 2 layers, pull the gathering strings, and it pulls right around the little circles. The next thing to do is to run gathering rows in this row of lace, so it will circle around like this. The finished product, as you can see, all of this is glued together with a little bit of fringe, and then a little circle of felt goes on the back. So let me turn it over and put a little circle of felt on the back, and then put a little pin attachment, or you could even just use a little safety pin. And I believe that this is a precious little brooch that I would enjoy wearing, and I bet you would too. Now I'd like for you to come along with me to my attic. One of my favorite parts of the day is coming up into my attic to see what kind of treasures I have here to share with you. Since this is the diamond show, one of my favorite petticoats of all times is this lovely petticoat right here. Remember, around the turn of the century, our mothers and grandmothers did not have a zigzag sewing machine. They just had a straight stitch sewing machine. So these diamonds were made crisscrossed, this beautiful wide round thread lace, crisscrossed, and they were stitched into the seam here, and they were straight stitched into this lovely petticoat. Well, it looks like I have something in this drawer. Okay, this is truly a beautiful ladies' camisole. It has diamonds on it. I love the hand embroidery on this camisole. This, I would be willing to bet, belonged to a lady named Marion, because there are some tiny little letters, and the name Marion is stitched into this beautiful ecru silk camisole, which I would almost bet was part of a trousseau. And the diamonds follow around that little square that has Marion on it, and something else really sweet on the straps. There is a ribbon rosette on the straps. What an elegant, and oh, by the way, it ties in the front, and there are some more pin tucks and some feather stitching by hand. What an elegant garment for a bride around the turn of the century, or for a bride today. When I look at this next little dress, the reason I chose it for you today, and it really doesn't have diamonds on the neckline, but guess what it does have? It has the fold back miter. In order to make this, you simply have a wide piece of a lot of things stitched together, fold it back, and then this makes the yoke of this sweet little dress. Thank you so much for joining me today in my sewing room. We have a wonderful show planned for you next week, and I would like to invite you to come back to enjoy the show next week.